core traits are pretty well known. He's determined, fearless, and carefree. He's the kind of guy who will dive headfirst into danger with a big grin and an unshakable belief in his friends and his dreams. But what if Luffy were female? How would the story be? Well, let's see how those traits might play out differently. First up, let's talk about recruitment. When Luffy recruited Zoro, the swordsman was tied to a post, waiting to be executed by marine soldiers. A female captain might have given Zoro a bit of a different vibe. Maybe he'd have been more skeptical or even impressed by her strength, thinking she's less likely to be just another pretty face. Zoro's "I don't follow orders from women" stance could turn into a comedy of errors if the female captain had to convince him through impressive swordplay or simply by proving she's not someone to mess with. Nami's recruitment would be another interesting shift. Nami initially joined the crew because she wanted to save her village from Arlong's tyranny, and Luffy's straightforward nature appealed to her. A female captain might have made things a bit more complex. Nami might be more guarded or curious about her intentions. Picture Nami trying to outwit a female Luffy with her cunning, only for the captain to respond with a mix of humor and stubbornness that Nami can't resist. As for Usopp, his interactions would probably remain pretty similar. However, his tall tales and exaggerated bravery might take on new dimensions with a female captain. Imagine Usopp boasting about his heroic deeds while the female captain listens with a bemused look, eventually calling him out on his nonsense with a wink or a playful jab. Sanji, on the other hand, would definitely have a lot to adjust to. His chivalrous nature could become even more pronounced. Instead of just fawning over a female captain, he might go into full-on overdrive, making sure to be extra gallant, even to the point of comedic absurdity. Picture him constantly cooking up fancy meals and getting overly dramatic about opening doors, all while the female captain laughs it off or teases him. For comic relief, a female Luffy might still be hilariously clueless about Boa Hancock's affections. Imagine Hancock's attempts to impress the female captain with grand gestures, only for Luffy to respond with her classic oblivious charm. Boa might end up being utterly frustrated, trying to get her attention while Luffy just munches on meat, completely unaware of the romantic tension in the air. Now let's imagine how a female Luffy would shake up some major arcs in One Piece, starting with Arlong Park and rolling through Alabasta and Marineford. In Arlong Park, Nami's backstory is all about her struggling under the tyrannical rule of the fishman Arlong. A female Luffy might bring a different flavor to this situation. While Luffy's relentless drive to help his friends remains the same, her empathy might come from a place of sisterhood. Picture a female Luffy seeing Nami's tattoo, the mark of Arlong's control, and reacting with a fierce "no way, we're taking him down." It'd be like a sisterly pact, where Luffy's support feels even more personal. She might rally the crew with a more emotionally charged plea, turning Nami's anger into an even more powerful motivator. Moving to Alabasta, the female Luffy's approach to the rebellion and Crocodile would be quite the spectacle. In the Desert Kingdom, Luffy, as usual, wouldn't care much about appearances. Imagine her showing up to battle Crocodile with her clothes in tatters, a typical Luffy move, while trying to figure out how to fight the sand-manipulating villain. She might be more focused on how to punch Crocodile hard enough to make the sand fly than on keeping her outfit pristine. In a battle of epic sandstorms, a female Luffy might declare, "Who needs a fancy outfit when you've got fists of steel?" proving yet again that her fighting spirit outweighs her fashion sense. During Marineford, the stakes are sky high with the war to rescue Ace. A female Luffy's gender might influence both perceptions and strategies. Some characters might underestimate her, thinking she's not as formidable because of her gender, giving her an unexpected advantage. Imagine a tense Marineford battle, where some marines and even pirates are momentarily confused by her presence, only for her to charge through with her usual determination and punches. Meanwhile, her crew and allies might have to work harder to convince others that this little lady is a force to be reckoned with. Now, imagine Luffy landing on Alvida's ship as a woman. The scene where Luffy first meets Kobe and faces off against the tyrannical Alvida could play out with even sharper contrasts. Alvida, who obsesses over beauty and power, might initially underestimate Luffy, thinking she's just another naive girl lost at sea. The surprise on Alvida's face when Luffy nonchalantly dodges her iron mace would be priceless. Plus, seeing a strong female character like Luffy stand up against Alvida's bullying could inspire Kobe even more deeply. It would send a powerful message right from the get-go: strength knows no gender. As for the crew's reaction, having a female pirate captain from the start might ruffle some feathers among the old-school pirates, but Luffy's charisma is undeniable, and her ability to win hearts is as strong as her gum-gum punch. The crew's initial skepticism would quickly turn into admiration as they witnessed her fearless leadership and unwavering determination. Let's also explore how a female Luffy would shake things up during the Enies Lobby arc and the Impel down Marineford arcs. In the Enies Lobby arc, the Straw Hats are on a mission to rescue Nico Robin from the clutches of the world government. The emotional climax of this arc is Robin's "I Want to Live" scene, where she breaks down and declares her wish to escape from her tragic past and live freely with the crew. If Luffy were female, this moment might carry a different emotional weight. A female Luffy could bring an extra layer of empathy and understanding to the scene. Imagine her responding to Robin's cries with a deep, heartfelt reassurance, maybe even showing more vulnerability and personal connection. She might take Robin's hand and say something like, "I know it's hard, but you're not alone anymore. We're your family now, and we'll fight for you no matter what." This could make the scene even more poignant, as her genuine care might deepen the emotional impact for Robin and the audience alike. Moving on to Impel Down and Marineford, a female Luffy's interactions would definitely add new dynamics. In Impel Down, where Luffy teams up with characters like Boa Hancock, the chemistry could shift. Boa Hancock's affection for Luffy might become more overt and possibly even comical. Imagine Hancock, already smitten with Luffy, being even more expressive with a female Luffy, showering her with admiration and trying to impress her with grand gestures. Female Luffy might respond with her usual obliviousness, leading to some funny and awkward exchanges where Hancock tries to win her favor, only to have Luffy continue her quest with her typical focus on rescue and adventure. As for the male prisoners in Impel Down, they might react differently to a female Luffy. Some might initially underestimate her or be surprised by her strength, given the gender stereotypes they're used to. However, they'd soon learn that this female Luffy is just as fierce and determined as her male counterpart. Picture them watching in awe as she breaks through the prison with a mix of power and carefree attitude, while they try to keep up with her whirlwind of energy and enthusiasm. In Marineford, the battle would be an intense mix of strategy and emotion. Ace's protective instincts might shift slightly, as he could feel a stronger urge to protect a female Luffy, perhaps influenced by chivalry or some sense of wanting to shield her. This could lead to Ace and others adjusting their strategy, with more focus on defending Luffy during the battle. Imagine Ace calling out, "Watch out for her," or trying to coordinate more closely with the female Luffy to ensure she's not in harm's way. But how would antagonists like Doflamingo or Kaido react to a female Luffy? First, let's consider Doflamingo, the flamboyant and dangerous Don Quixote. Doflamingo is all about control and manipulation. With a female Luffy as his opponent, he might initially underestimate her, thinking she's just another pretty face in a sea of pirates. Picture Doflamingo lounging on his throne, smirking as he says, "A female pirate? Really? How quaint." But he'd soon discover that this female Luffy isn't just about looks. She's got the same fiery determination and combat skills as her male counterpart. The battle might take on a more personal edge for Doflamingo, who'd have to deal with not only her powerful punches, but also his own surprise at her relentless spirit. Kaido the Beast Pirate is all about strength and destruction. He might react with a mix of amusement and challenge. Initially, Kaido might see a female Luffy as an easy target, underestimating her ability to match his brute force. Imagine Kaido chuckling, "A girl? She'll be a good warm-up." However, as soon as he feels the impact of her gum-gum punches, his expression would quickly change. Kaido's approach might shift from mockery to serious combat, making for a showdown where he's forced to acknowledge her strength and determination. Now let's look at the world government and Marines. A female Luffy would definitely stir things up in their bureaucratic halls. Marines might be unsure how to handle her. On one hand, they'd see her as a significant threat due to her strength and influence, but on the other hand, they might be thrown off by her gender. Imagine an admiral scratching his head saying, "We've faced many pirates, but a powerful female pirate? This is new." Some might even underestimate her, thinking she's less of a threat because of outdated views about women in power. In their strategies, the Marines might initially focus on capturing her by underestimating her abilities or trying to use more gentle tactics. However, once they realize that a female Luffy is just as relentless and powerful as her male counterpart, their strategies would quickly shift to full-blown combat. This would probably lead to a few awkward moments where they've got to deal with their own surprise and confusion while trying to take down this powerful pirate who just happens to be a woman. Imagine how the fandom would react to a female Luffy. A female Luffy would shake up the gender representation in shonen anime and manga. Traditionally, shonen has been dominated by male protagonists who are action-oriented and often embody traditional masculine traits. A female Luffy would break this mold, showing that a female lead can be just as adventurous, strong, and unapologetically ambitious as any male character. This could lead to a broader discussion on how female characters are represented in anime and manga, possibly inspiring more stories with strong, complex female leads in other series. We've explored how a female Luffy would mix things up in One Piece, from changing the emotional impact of Robin's "I want to live" moment to shifting interactions in Impel Down and Marineford. How do you think her gender would twist the story further? Share your thoughts in the comments. And speaking of twists, ever wondered if Luffy's straw hat would look good with a tiara? Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more what-if scenarios. Next time, we'll dive into what if the Straw Hats were villains. Don't miss it. Are you curious about how strong Straw Hat crew members can be? Well, that's the subject of this other video. Click on this link to see this other cool anime video. Go ahead, click it.